Welcome everybody, thank you for stopping by Jumping Jak Tutorials. My name is Jack. Today we're going to talk about how to fall safely. I think this is essential if you are starting parkour or any other movement sport like that. You wouldn't want to fall, have an injury, and take you out of practice. So the more safely you can fall, the more things you can practice. Being able to go up onto heights becomes a bit more safe. The unexpected happens, right? Alright, thanks for joining me and let's get started. So I'll start with saying that the higher your center of mass is, or the farther that it falls, the harder it's going to hit the floor. So for a basic safety fall, if you tip over, you're going to hit the floor hard. If you can lower that body weight down as you fall, it's going to help make that fall softer. So if you can lower your body weight on a fall, if you can bring it down to the floor a little bit sooner instead of letting gravity speed you up and hit the floor, that's going to help you be safe. A big thing that happens on falling is people injure their wrists or their elbows, they maybe break their arms. That happens a lot because naturally you want to protect yourself with your arms. You have more important body parts, your brain, your internal organs, so you try to protect them. Here are a few ways that you might end up injuring your arms, and then we'll talk about how to avoid that. So if you're falling forward, sometimes people put their arms out in front to catch themselves. That's alright if you can tuck them in, but what ends up happening sometimes is your arm gets trapped underneath you. Your body ends up squishing your arm, and that's what creates a big injury for the wrist or for the elbows. Another big one is falling backward. People tend to reach behind them to catch themselves. What doesn't bend will tend to break. So reaching that arm back behind you can cause injury because in this arm position you're falling with a lot of weight. Your arm doesn't bend easily, so that causes injury. For your arms, I'm not saying you can't use your arms. Your arms are great to help you transition into a roll. You just got to make sure you're tucking them in, and again, not putting them in a place that could get them injured. So an example of a forward safety fall where I'm going to reach my arms out, my hands slow me down, but then if you saw, I tucked them in and brought them over to a safe spot so they didn't get injured or caught underneath me. So now that we know to keep our arms out of the way, or to at least tuck them in, we can be more safe as we fall. That's already a big factor that we don't have to worry about. Another thing that I stress is if you can, just roll with it. What I mean by that is if you're falling, taking that momentum from a fall, turning it into a roll, that can go a long way with distributing the impact and not hitting one body part too hard on the ground. So one thing that I encourage, especially for safety falls and falling from a height, is being able to roll. Getting good at sideways rolls, getting good at forward rolls, getting good at backward rolls. And a lot of times when you fall, especially for that backward roll, you might end up going over one shoulder. So instead of having your head go straight back, you would kind of turn and go over those rolls. One way to practice getting good at just basic rolls or safety falls is practice things like walking, maybe a little trip, fall and turn, practice leaning forward, step and go into a roll, fall backward. You can either safety fall, or again, lowering your body weight. You see I'm going bottom first, turn it into a roll. Practicing all of those different rolls, all of those different ways to fall, that can get you ready or prepared in case of an emergency or an accident. Now in some situations you have an obstacle next to you. So let's say I have this metal trampoline behind me. That does not give me the opportunity to roll. So practicing just a basic safety fall here is good. Or if your head might hit that object behind you, as you fall, you can give it a little extra protection. So knowing how to fall even without that roll is super important as well. We've talked about lowering our body weight down if we can, bringing it down to the floor safely, not getting our arms trapped underneath us or doing anything that could injure our arms, and if we have the ability, rolling with that fall to distribute that impact. Alright guys, thanks for watching Jumping Jak Tutorials. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope it helps you stay safe. Alright, have fun practicing.